Hey guys, so I brought you the groups yesterday for World's Strongest Man. Unfortunately, there's been a few little changes, so I've got the final groups for you. We're going to quickly go through each group and every athlete that's competing at this year's World's Strongest Man. So for group number one, there's been no changes. The athletes still stand as Luke Richardson, Robert Oberst, Gabriel Pena, Paro Dwyer and Jerry Pritchett. A good mix of newcomers and experienced veterans in that group. Should be an exciting one. I think we could see the likes of Jerry and Robert having a good battle, but I know that Gabriel Pena is an extremely confident athlete. He's talking about getting to the final. Luke Richardson, an incredible athlete. He just gets better and better every single time I see him. And Paro Dwyer, his first World's Strongest Man. He's always dangerous, depending on what events they get finally put into their group. The events that we don't know, just to clarify at the moment, each group will have either a squat or a deadlift, or a log lift or a dumbbell press. That's everything else in the groups, I believe, will be the same. But I'm not sure on which one of those events each group has right now. So with group two, this also has no changes. So still it stands as Adam Bishop, Evan Singleton, Mikhail Shivlyakov, Kevin Ferris, and Mark Felix. So group three is the first group with a change, where we have Oleksii Novikov being removed from group three and being replaced by Aivers Smaukstelis. I keep getting his name wrong, but I think I'm close enough. But yeah, he's the only change in that group. So right now we have Tom Stoltman, Aivers, Trey Mitchell, Charles Mitchell for anyone wondering why I call him Trey, Gavin Bilton and Maxime Boudreult. Very, very tough group. Even with the change, I mean, Aivers is a great athlete anyway. I thought beforehand group three was probably the hardest group with, if Oleksii was still in that group. Still think it's an extremely tough group, but you'll see in a minute with some of the changes, I've decided that group five is now the toughest group. So we have one change in group four. Still, it contains JF Caron, Graham Hicks. Aivers is out and replaced with Ervin Toots, Eythor Melsted and Bobby Thompson. So one change in that group. Still a tough group. I think it's quite an equal level change with taking Aivers out and replacing him with Ervin. Both very, very good athletes, both similar athletes as well. So not a huge change for group four. So group five, and I'm just looking at it now thinking, geez, this is a tough group. They are doing these guys no favours whatsoever. So our original list in group five was Brian Shaw, Luke Stoltman, Ervin Toots, Terry Hollands and Wesley Claiborne. Unfortunately, Wesley has had to pull out of the contest. He had 4 COVID tests. Apparently he passed 2 and failed 2. I don't want to go into the details of that side of things because it's just ridiculous, but I feel for this guy. Unfortunately, he's had to head home. Luckily, he doesn't live too far away from the contest was. Otherwise, he would have had to isolate for 10 days in a separate hotel. But steps in for Wesley, the reserve, which was Nick Best. So Nick Best, a great athlete. He's been at World's Strongest Man many, many times. He steps in to replace Wesley Claiborne. Then we still have Terry Hollands. Ervin Toots, as you just heard, has been moved to a different group. They have put Oleksii Novikov into group 5. And then you still have Luke Stoltman and Brian Shaw. Oleksii pushed Brian Shaw in his group last year extremely hard. And now you look at it, you got, Brian, Luke, Oleksii, Terry Hollands, who is going for his 10th World's Strongest Man final, and Nick Best, who's been in the final many, many times. This group has got 4 guys out of the 5 that have all been World's Strongest Man finalists. And Oleksii Novikov is one of the most hot prospects in the sport. It really is the group of death this year. As a fan, it's exciting, but I'm glad I'm not in that group for sure. Even like Brian Shaw, Luke Stoltman, they're the big kind of heavy favourites. You don't want to see someone like Oleksii in your group. He's been quiet this year. He's won Arnold contests around the world. He's placed top 3 in loads of internationals. He seems to get better each year. He's had a quieter year this year where he hasn't been competing all the time. I believe he did over 40 or 50 competitions last year, and his body sort of broke down towards the end of the year. This year he's been training hard, keeping it quiet. I'm quite excited to see how he does. It's going to be a real tough one. But that's the final list of groups. Let me know who you think is going to get through from each group, and I'm going to be back tonight with my predictions. While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.